Welcome to the fire. May the legacies that burn in this fire live forever. Long live the fire. If you listen, everyone is yelling for. We're going all in just one more time. And this one is for you. In the name of the Most High God, we send love into the atmosphere towards all of the Douglas Byrd Eagle football players, coaches, families, and friends, and to the many people who would have jumped at the chance to join in on this tribute to a legend, Coach Mike Paroli. Love and humble respect to the entire Paroli family, Miss Paroli and Coach Bob Paroli. You inspire us all. Without you, there would be no Coach Mike. I bring but only a few, but we represent the love and stories of many. Can I get a witness?
Before the game, they interviewed me again, and they was like, you remember last year, after the state championship game, you put a quote in the paper that there was no doubt in your mind that you would be back here in the championship next year. Here it is, a week before the championship. How do you feel coming into the Eastern Conference Championship? And my only response was, nothing has changed. Coach Mike came to me. It was just me and him. And he was like, exact words, I couldn't have said it better myself, dog. But you know he always called me dog. I love that. Nobody else said it like Coach Mike. It was something about it, and I loved it. Even Coach Bloom, I love Coach Bloom to death, but I think his biggest impact on me was teaching me technique. But Coach Mike to me, he didn't have to say much. His impact on me was his intensity and preparation. I'm going 120 miles per hour in everything I do. And you know who taught me that? Coach Mike. You practice how you play. And that's one thing that you can't teach people. That's why I think we were so much better prepared than other teams. And the crazy thing is, when I start recording tomorrow, it's so much that I got, I might not even remember that. I'm gonna sit down and just contemplate and just think about all of the memories, all the different ways he impacted me. I think one of the most important ones to me is that confidence that he instilled in me in preparation. I took that to heart. I go 100% in everything I do. Even in life today. Remember them shirts, unfinished business? I look at life as unfinished business because of stuff like that, man, that Coach Mike put in us. If I was unsuccessful in this job, it's still unfinished business. I'm moving on to the next one with that much more motivation. That's how we approach life with the lessons that he taught us. He had a confidence in me that I didn't even quite have myself, but the way he talked to me, like with his confidence in me, helped me. I ain't stopped. I'm not gonna stop trying until I'm dead. And at the end of every failure, you start in the fourth quarter. And like Coach Mike, hey, we don't deserve to win this game. You gotta get out here and play for 4 quarters. Now, every time I start to feel sorry for myself, I'm holding up those 4 fingers, dog. I don't care if anybody around. He transformed us. Think about it. He knew how to tap into whatever we needed. And sometimes we kind of doubted ourselves. Like you said, you didn't even know you had it in you. But they knew how to tap in and transform us. He knew how to renew our way of thinking. You didn't know you had stuff in you that he could tap in and bring out. Compassion. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I loved about them. As tough as they were, they all had compassion, man. Coach Mike instilled in me to never quit and always do everything as if you in the game. The game ain't over till the clock hits 0. I ain't stopped. I'm not gonna stop trying till I'm dead. And Coach Mike, right now, I'm going through a time in my life to where I don't have a job. But you know what? It's fourth quarter. I'm holding up 4 fingers and I'm going all in. And I'm gonna leave it at that. And that's what you taught. Oh Lord.
What's up, Coach Mike? Willie, aka the dog. I'm just here to give a few words of encouragement and let you know how you've impacted my life. I remember like yesterday when I first walked up to Douglas Byrd. And little did I know what you were doing, how you was building me into becoming a man at an early age. The toughness and way of thinking, frame of mind that was instilled into me as an Eagle is really carrying me through life. I joined the military. People ask me, man, was it tough? Did it change you? My response was no. It just taught me a little more discipline and responsibilities. The foundation was already given, playing for the Eagles. You had to have that or you wasn't an Eagle. Things that you instilled in us to never give up. As long as there's time on the clock, the game is never over. So as many times as I fail, every time I stand back up, I hold up my 4 fingers, and all I can hear is me and the fellas yelling 4. Coach Mike, thank you for everything that you've done for me. I know that without you, none of that was possible. You are a real big key in everything. The toughness that you instilled into all of the players, the accountability that you held upon us has really helped me through this game of life. So I've fallen again. But you know what? I'm holding up them 4 fingers, thinking of you and the rest of the team, yelling 4.
You was coached by Coach Mike Paroli for 3 years. What was that like? How did that develop you as a man and tie it into life directly from his coaching directly, and how that has helped me in life, or how it shaped my mindset, how I deal with things today, who I am now? It helped me transcend into who I am now. The mindset I have now, I know where that was developed at, and Coach Mike's name is attached to that. I don't know, man, like for some reason I feel the term, like dealing with fear, learning how to deal with that, learning how to manage that, learning how to respect it. Coach Mike tried to make us fear teams that we was coming up against. Him teaching us from a man's perspective on how a man deals with fear and how you prepare to battle it and in your preparation. But when I say fear, I mean in terms of reverence or respect, like it's like you fear God. It is what helps give you the victory over it. Vince Lombardi said you left on the field of battle exhausted because you left everything out there. Well, we train out of fear losing, fear not performing well, fear of letting each other down, letting your teammates down. That fear is kind of what drove me. Be disciplined. It causes you to implement some forethought before you just act. Him teaching me how to deal with that fear, how to manage that fear is what made me the man that I am today, and how I look at certain problems that I face, the things that I've gone through, that I actually made it through and it didn't kill me, destroy me, or defeat me. You know what I mean? Like, it's because I had a platform, I had a ground, a foundation on how to actually build from that, or how to actually defend against that, or how the life lessons that him, teaching us and being on us and yelling at us, making us run the same play over and over and over and over and over again. It wasn't because necessarily, you do it. It's just the repetition of it. It's like, dang, why we gotta run? Why we gotta do this? A lot of things that you didn't understand why you were doing it at the time. On Friday night in the fourth quarter, when the other team is gasping for air, you still talking trash and we still doing our own thing, and still getting after after it, then you start to realize, oh, okay, well, see, that extra running we did, or the time when Coach Mike might have made us do this and we didn't understand why, or in the weight room, why we had the Iron Eagle Club and all that. Why was all of that important? Well, it was important because it taught us discipline. It's all about the win. You know what I mean? Not W-I-N, but W-H-E-N. Win. I feel like everything that Coach Mike took us through was preparing us for a future win. When this happened, you got this to implement. When you go through divorce, you can implement this. When somebody in your family passes, you can implement this. When you lose your job or you broke, facing life, a hard part in your life, when that happens, you can implement this. Out of everything that I took, it's about all of the things that I can use when I need it. Now I got it. I ain't get it by myself. Like that was given to me back when I didn't even know that I even was getting it. It was given to me. So, and that's a blessing, man. You know what I mean? And that's a testament to who Coach Mike was as a coach. He prepared us for life 20-something years later. 20-some years later, we still using it. We still pulling on it. I don't know too many other people besides my mom, bro, that's done that for me. Once I got around Coach Mike and I saw his attitude and his demeanor, the way he carried himself, for a lot of us black men, we ain't have our pops in the home. It was just the mom. So what you learn about manhood, you learn from on the street or in the hood. Coach Mike gave me a different perspective of what a man was. Because for one, he wasn't black. They Italian, so it's like, all right, I felt like they embodied that well. They embodied that very well. A certain machismo, man, that they have. You know what I mean? They were macho. They were macho men. They fierce, they were smart, they was intelligent, they were strategic, and it just showed me a different type of man than what I was used to, coming up. They were successful. So it gave me a different blueprint to kind of go off of it, and some other aspects of manhood to implement that I didn't have because my pops wasn't there. My mom can't teach me how to be a man, and unfortunately, the majority of the men I was around were probably men that I shouldn't be trying to actually emulate. Because these are drug dealers and, dudes from the hood or whatever the case may be. So you already know what direction they gonna take you in. Coach Mike, whether he knew it or not, kind of emulated that for me, man. Like I said, 20-some years later, bro, I'm still using it. Still using it. Man, he cool. But he's a man of steel.
I'm probably gonna sit mine tomorrow when I get off, thanking him for my appreciation for some of the things he gave me to take throughout the journey through life, for giving me structure, something to build on from that age. After I left Byrd, I took a lot of that he gave me with me. I didn't like half of it. I just thought he was mean. I ain't know no better. But they always did show me that they cared a lot. They took me in, I just didn't live with them. They looked out for me big time, man. He used to hit me up like, yo, man, you need anything? If I said yes or no, he still looked out for me. Coach Mike and Coach Paroli. I'm definitely going to do something because I really appreciate everything they did for me. I didn't have no pops. My pops died when I was like 10. So when we talk about Coach Mike, it's a big feeling for me, really. And if I had one, I would want him to be everything like Coach Mike. To mold you and to shape you into who you really supposed to be. They meant something to me. They still do. I enjoyed all the stuff he taught us. Everything. He really inspired me to be the person I am right now. I wouldn't trade none of that love like that for the world, man. If I had to do everything being that what we went through at Douglas Byrd, if we had a chance to do it again, I would line up right now. He inspired me to be who I am. I used to call him from college and stuff like that, man, because at one point somebody had took my spot my freshman year. I'm ready to quit. I don't even want to play football no more. I call him, I talk to him for like an hour. He convinced me to go back out there. Like that third week, I got my job back. That's that fourth quarter stuff everybody be talking about. You still persevere through everything. Who would have thought that you would get rid of and let you work? Why? We ain't kids no more, man. We ain't none of that, man. We grown. 40 years old, and we talking about Coach Mike, bro. He impacted that many lives. Who knows how many more lives? It's just our generation talking about it. The same values in those guys. Man, it was always Coach Mike running the team. Even when I was there, man. I don't know Coach Mike from Coach Bob when I first meet him. I don't know the legacy. I know about school, but I don't know nobody. But it was always Coach Mike running everything. Not sometimes, but he worked out with us all the time. These kids these days, they gotta visually see that's what you can do. That's the same approach that he took 20 years ago. That's why he was working out. He wasn't working out to be fit. He probably never cared nothing about being fit. He got to set that example. If I want these guys to work out 5 days a week, I need to work out 5 days a week with them. I'm going to show them this how it's supposed to be done. After about 3 days of working out at Byrd, I was going to go to 71st. If my brother was soft, I would have went to 71st. That's what type of impact them guys had on me. It wasn't just me that believed in Coach Mike and Coach Bob. It was my brother. And he believed in that program enough to send somebody else down there. After leaving that program, you really realize I can do anything. It was really a family thing with me and the Parolis, man. All of them, well, with all y'all, because that's all I had when I got up there, other than my brother. And my brother was in the field for like 71st game. And that was the first championship I had won since like junior high. I played on the team, and I was the best player on the team on every team I played on. But when I got to Byrd, I was just Chris Johnson. I was cool with that. He let me know that no matter how good you think you are, regardless, we was winning last year, we was winning years before I even got there. And that humbled me for the rest of my life. I'm humbled because of that reason. I don't care how good you think you are. There's somebody out here better than you that can do your job just as good as you. So I do my best at everything, man. So I came up there, I got some real structure from my brother. And it wasn't no different when I got to school. I think that, man, they had to be communicating back and forth about me. Because everybody was so hard on me up there. When I get to the state of North Carolina, I don't call nobody but Coach Mike. That's the first person I call. Every single time I've been up there, that's the first person I want to talk to is Coach Mike. I want to go see them. If they at the weight room, I want to go in the weight room and mingle with the kids. I still want to go up there and let them know, hey, you need to listen to this guy.
I always hear all of the stories. I've been there before I even went to North Carolina. And I heard, you saying like I was recording, I'm trying to put all this together. And I heard Coach Mike, and when I heard Coach Mike, I went back to hearing all the stories. His family, his dad, his upbringing led him to a point in life where he touched a lot of souls. And then it was also tag team. But I know that while they was being that father figure to all of y'all, man, that's love. And I was brought up being taught that families don't have to be blood. It's who you bond with. So if I could say anything to them, I would say that I love them. If you break it all down, look at the overall picture, they played a significant part in my life. Had it not been for Chris, I wouldn't even know them. And when I got there, when I met them for the first time, that love, it was real. And you know true love, you know it when you feel it. It was real. To the point where I really hated to even depart them. Because it's like I've been hearing about them so long, and now I got a chance to meet them, and man, these people like really are like some father type figures. And I would say just keep on keeping on. I love you. Chris loved him. You know, I was just giving him that love and just telling him, in my book, he's an awesome person. And no matter what, life gonna bring you storms. And sometimes it's just a test, because you kind of question why. My words of encouragement to him is to just keep going and walk by faith and not by sight. Because whatever crossed your path, God already blessed it and allowed it to come. So just stay focused, keep his eyes on the hills which cometh his strength, and glory be to God.
At a difficult time in my life, having just lost my father, I was fully embraced by the Douglas Byrd High School football program. There were moments in between where I found myself being pulled in multiple directions, none of which showing the promise or future of what this program had to offer. The lessons that I learned from Coach Bob and Coach Mike off the field far overshadowed the X's and O's on the field. For 3 years, I practiced and played with not only some of the most talented athletes that Cumberland County has ever had, but one of the most academically gifted high school football programs the city has ever seen. There was a poster in the weight room of a bulldog, and the caption read, "You can be replaced." I looked at this poster multiple times a day, and I see it with my eyes closed 20 years later. Coach Mike and Coach Bob, who I would happily address as two of the single greatest influences in my life, instilled in me that success isn't owned. It's rented, and the rent was due every day. No matter how fast, how strong, or talented you are at this moment, you would not be allowed to rest on those laurels. Daily, you were required to come in and perform at full speed and at a high level. This program accomplishments were based on the work that was generated in the preseason and the discipline that was shown in the off-season. This was one great big family. If you did well, you were hoisted on shoulders and carried off into the sunset. When you made mistakes, it wasn't overlooked, and justice was swift. It was carried out on site and corrected in real time. And a good possibility of you hearing about it again, all in the efforts to prevent reoccurrence not only from you, but also younger up-and-coming teammates around you, so that everyone knows what was expected of them. Upon graduating and leaving the program, embarking onto the world, you see the difference in yourself and others not having those lessons and discipline as a foundation. And I can honestly say it made all the difference. I appreciate, love, and thank these men for taking the time, because they could have been anywhere else in the world, but they were there with me and for me. Travis Vanderhorst, number 55, defensive end, 96, 97, 98, 43 and 5.
Coach Mike and just Byrd football and what he's meant to myself and a lot of us. A bunch of memories popped into my head. I've known this man for over 29 years, and it's crazy to think it's been that long. But I moved here in 1992 from Germany. I first met Coach Bob. Very arms open, welcome. You're in the right place. We're glad to have you.
very welcoming. A day or two later, I meet Coach Mike. I was kind of a basketball first kind of guy and wasn't big on lifting and never really been around somebody like Coach Mike. So I wasn't sure how to take him. So I did my best to kind of try to keep my distance from Coach Mike and stay closer to Coach Paroli, who was a little more, easier to be around for myself. It's funny to think that now because Coach Mike and I I feel are very close, and he's, if Coach Bob's like a father to me, then Coach Mike's definitely like a bigger brother, / father to me. One story that definitely sticks out is I wasn't going to play football. I decided last minute, hey, okay, I'm going to play football. Well, they needed a quarterback on the JV. And I said, yeah, okay, that sounds fun. I'm focusing on basketball. I'll play JV quarterback. And to still continue to do my best to stay away from Coach Mike. One Thursday night, we're playing E.E. Smith, and I throw an interception. And I'm so pissed off at myself. As soon as I threw it, I knew this kid was going to pick it off. I sprinted 15, 20 yards and was able to I was the first one to this guy and destroyed him. Upended him, took his legs out, come to the sideline, I'm so pissed off. And the first person to meet me as I get to the sideline is Coach Mike. And I'm just knowing that he's going to be pissed off. His words to me, and only words to me, good job, Mike. I'm just baffled now because I'm like, good job. Just threw an interception. But as I calmed down, I realized, obviously, good job because I threw an interception and I didn't just give up on the play. I was the first one down to make the tackle, and a good tackle. And that's always stayed with me. That was the day I think I figured out what this man wants from me, what he expects from me and from us. And that I just really feel like that was a life-changing moment in my life in football, in realizing what he was about. And it's just funny to think back now that, that as a young kid, you don't have a clue. And I've seen it time and time again that some of these people, they don't get at first what it is this man's trying to instill in you. It's such a special thing once you do figure it out. And especially years later when you look back. And that, I just feel like those are the stories and that you love to hear about Coach Mike, because they both will always play a special part in all our lives. It's definitely been, a life-changing experience to have them in my life, and I'm fortunate enough that I was able to play for them for a couple years and then coach with them for so many years now. And I definitely look forward to, what's in store for Coach Mike next. And I just want to say that, we're all a brotherhood because of those two. In this day and time, that's just an amazing thing to have. It really is.
I was very honored to share some of my thoughts of Coach Mike Paroli. I really am. I just first start off by saying playing for Coach Mike and playing for Coach Paroli, coming from where I come from my background, it basically saved my life. Set a lot of us up to be successful, although we came from areas that wasn't really conducive to success. The care, the love, the process, and the allowed growth that we had to buy into being a part of something that was much bigger than all of us as individuals. Structure, discipline, winning attitude was instilled in me playing for Coach Mike Paroli. We're playing Westover in 1992, my junior year, and I was playing defensive tackle. Things weren't going too well for me there on the field, so I come off on the sideline, and I was a big guy, probably about 6'4", 6'5", at the time, 330 pounds. I mean, that big, sometimes your uniform doesn't always lay on you in a flattering way. So my belt's hanging off, pants hanging off my tail, and I remember Coach Mike turning and looking at me and saying, you know, and like I said, I wasn't playing well, feeling sorry for myself. Get your head up, fix yourself up, and look like you play varsity football. That there still resonates to me to this day, even as I'm on the other side of Rose, and been very blessed to be coaching many years. And, you know, I require that same structure from my players, and no matter what's going on, you look like a winner. You going through adversity, whatever the case may be, you never look defeated. Those are very important lessons in life. Even more important than the lessons, any lesson you can learn in a classroom, in any book, those intangibles are the most important, and that's what Coach Mike is responsible, and of course, not just for myself, hundreds of us to sacrifice that type of time and dedication and effort. I'm very appreciative. Not just for myself, like, as I said, everyone through those many years that he's been coaching football at Douglas Byrd, and even at 71st. I'll never be able to repay him for that. All I can keep doing is trying to pay it forward. I understand more now as I'm getting older just what he meant to me, personal standpoint, any of my development as a continued player, college, and even in my profession. He's had an impact on every level of my life. That's very powerful, and that's special. Playing under Coach Mike and playing under, of course, Coach Bob, it makes you different. We're in the Byrd football family. We're not better than anybody else, but we understand that we're different because that's a special experience to be able to go through, and I wish everybody could have gone through that, but they can't. Just keeping it very simple. Anything that I am today, profession of being an educator, coach, all of the success that I've had, I've been blessed with a lot. It started playing Byrd football. And I'll forever be grateful. And I love Coach Mike and everything about the Paroli family.
I'm gonna need everybody to hold 4 fingers up in the air. Take a picture of yourself and then set it right here. Who would have ever thought that in the end, there would always be this? Around the bonfire reminiscing with all of my guests. I'm here to set the record straight, and I ain't talking at all about only things we did as kids when we were chasing the ball. I remember walking through the halls of that old DB. Coach Mike's in the cafeteria, you better go eat. I came over as a quarterback, I was an LB. By the time I was a senior, he'd already groomed me to be the leader of the D, still the leader of the D, because now we're all grown men and defend the Paroli legacy. See, the problem is a lot of people still look but can't see. This ain't about football, it's about life. That's why I bought 300 Iron Eagles, and we still all agree as we descend with class in opposition to the addressee. Our talents block out the sun because of Mike Paroli. I brought the brotherhood in case you didn't know me. I didn't have to believe in him before he was believing in me. Just wanted to say that we love you and thanks for being the key. Without all of that intensity and strong energy, I can't imagine what kind of football player or man I would be. Maybe this is the perfect time to talk about me. How my experience with Coach Mike turned me into a beast. I'm almost 41 years old, I weigh about 203. Still benching over 405 with a bachelor's degree. I left Byrd with a full ride, graduated 12 years late, then enrolled at Colorado State for a master's degree. If you didn't know, that School of Business is the top 13% of business schools in the whole world, and no matter how bad things went, I'm holding up 4 fingers, and I'm going all in. Never forget the purpose statement I had to write to get in. See, Coach Bob watched Kung Fu flicks, and a quote he loved above all is when a man said a life without commitment is no life at all. That resonated with me, 20 years later, no less. So when I get to grad school, had to dig deep. I said without ambition, quality of life is a threat. But without commitment, ambition couldn't be more useless. My resume says Fortune 500 for at least the last 8 years. Top producer in the US and Canada over my peers. Winning is a habit. I didn't only do it once, over 20 years later, and was still pulling stunts. Amongst us are husbands and the best fathers in the world, instilling Coach Mike's lessons into our little boys and girls. We accept responsibility for the mistakes that we made, and still call Coach Mike sometimes, feeling afraid. The mission had to be prepaid, and for those of us who applied it kept a lot of us out of jail and away from our graves. What an opportunity to play in the place futures were made. See, I wanted to be sure to let the record show how this all plays out. When these boys become men, if there was ever a doubt. Man, I'm still competitive, but the very best part, I don't ever compete with anybody. It just comes from the heart. See, I hope we all make it. Just don't wait too long before you tell people how you feel about them and your chances are gone. Here's a fun fact for you that no one probably knows. Coach Mike been listening to The Fire. I'm talking all episodes. As much as I want to talk football, man, I'll never forget. Coach Mike was the first person to put me on Central Spec. I came back to the school, lived it with the kids. We talked by the fire about the things that they did. All that hope in their hearts before the season begins. Lost every game the year before, they all just wanted to win. I asked Coach Mike for all the answers to my burning questions. But when I had to pass all his tests before I learned his lessons, he said, Earl, we can't do it how we used to, because the kids nowadays, they're not as tough as your crew. It's a sad day when we can see children disrespect their teachers and get away scot-free. I've always been one to believe that there's no such thing as bad kids when our parents won't take them under their wing. He said to buy in, it takes discipline to complete difficult tasks, or else they're never gonna win. A lot of us are black men, and I'm sure you can see Coach Mike was pushing us towards college so that we could break free. Coach Mike, I beg your pardon, but there's no apology to anyone that's not humble enough to see exactly what we see. See, it didn't matter what color you were or the neighborhood you were in. When you were on the field, Mike Paroli was the man. He taught us all to protect this house and protect your brother. And when you wear maroon and gold, we're all the same color. A man of steel, and nobody would test. No matter how big or strong you were when you were smelling yourself. We still talk now and then, and I'm humbled to be a man Coach Mike can respect and be able to call a friend. Thank you to Miss Wendy, because when she gave me the blessing, she talked about how much that it would touch her just to hear the team's expressions. We're swimming in the deep where only a few can swim, calling it exactly like it is with just a few of my kin. See, there's a big misconception about who Coach Mike is. I'll never forget bringing my family till he can visit my kid. See, back in the day, he was tough, but it was exactly what we needed. I guess other teams players must struggle harder with succeeding. I think I'm gonna say exactly what maybe no one would say. But what do I have to lose? It's all gone anyway. When it comes to raising young boys, that's something I do. My youngest of 4 is 12, the oldest 122. Keep fooling yourself if you want to. They're really baby men. I know exactly how it is, cause I was one too. The problem is not the boomers, and I'm sad to say, there's parents around our age who don't pay their way. Electronic babysitters and cell phones, like every day's the birthday, can't leave it alone. Nobody could ever convince me that Coach Mike isn't at least the most valuable asset a troubled young man could see. Just let that sink in. Whether the kids be good or bad, it doesn't matter to me. How can these children benefit if he has to leave? Coach Mike taught us about team. No one was allowed to be cool. And you better be showing some white socks on the top of them shoes. On any given Friday night, I can still hear the sound of Coach Mike reminding me who's coming, so better stay down. It feels good to talk about it openly, even if just for a minute. So you can't know Coach Mike like we do if you didn't live. Originally, I lined up a lot of people to try to do this, but we'd have been here all night trying to give you our best. Coach Paroli, you're a legend. In your own time, I think about how many times you must have wished that you could press rewind. Coach Mike, thank you for the gift of your dedication, the intensity and the energy you brought to every situation. Douglas Byrd football would never be the same organization without you yelling from the sidelines trying to give us an education. Tell all the schools that you're taking applications because you're giving them the job of tuning in to your station. Look at all of this information and how it impacted the population. It kept little boys off the streets from guilt by association, from facing incarceration. I'm losing my concentration, thinking of all the reasons why it's such a bittersweet separation. That's why we all want to express our sincerest appreciation, and most importantly to say, congratulations.